Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Philip and today I'm going to be showing you how to make part 2 of the project we started last time. Now in this part 2 we will add things like the city background and also the obstacles, trees, and road signs. And also if you hit an obstacle, the car will get out its backlights and its stoplights, and it will stop while everything else slowly stops until completely stops. So let's get started. Now the first thing I did today was add this other costume, which I liked how it looked a lot when I started the program. So here we go. It actually gives me the sensation of like a real road. Now to make it look cool, I went ahead and changed some values in the code, like this one right here, this value, and also this value. So yeah, there's that. And then also what we want to do is we want to make the edge of this line different colors so that we can tell the car, when we make a car, we want to tell the car if you're too much to the edge of the road, then we'll consider it as you've fallen off the road, so that's game over. So if we're touching that color on the edge, then game over. So we're going to go ahead and change the outline and not the fill, because this is a line. And if you're like, let's say you're using a rectangle, then a rectangle would have a fill and an outline, and you would do the fill, but since I'm just using a line, it'll be the outline. And basically what we want to do is select this over here, and instead of this white, let's go ahead and make a green. Alright, oh wait, no, first we gotta select the lines, whoops, pick that, and then make a green. Alright, and I think that that's good. Now let's go ahead and make a background. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna make the bottom half green, grass, and the top half blue, sky. So we're actually gonna make rectangles. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is add a city sprite that will be positioned in the back. So let's go ahead and do this, upload sprite, and what we're going to do is find it here. Okay, there it is. And I'm going to go ahead and position it, center it, like that. And I'm just going to go ahead and make it go to 0, 0 so I can see how it looks. That looks good. And now what we're going to what we're gonna try to do is we're going to make it very, very long. And we want to make it very, very long because when we turn the car, we're gonna want it to move to the other side. So to do that, we'll have to make it very, very long so that it can we can still see the city any way we turn. So to do this, to make it very, very long, we will want to select it, move it here to the side. And then what we're going to want to do is we're going to Control A, select everything, Control Copy, Control Paste. Alright, and then we're going to want to drag this over here to match up with that one. Alright, now it might be like a pixel off like that. If it is, just move it up or down with the arrows to make it perfect. Then what we're going to do is Control A, select everything, move it to the side here. And then what we're going to want to do is Control C, Control V, copy paste, and match it up with that. And look, mine's a pixel off now, so move it up a bit. Control A, move everything to the side, and then we're just going to go ahead and copy paste. And yeah, well, that's really long already, which is good. And I think that that should be good. Now let's go ahead and add multiple costumes to our road sprite so that we can add things like trees on the sides of the road, different types of trees on sides of the road, along with obstacles on the road and traffic signs on the sides of the road. So I like this one that I made. As you see, I've made multiple costumes, but I like that one the most, so I'm just going to be using that one. So delete everything, except for the one you want to use, and also the big costume. And let's go ahead and choose a costume. I'm going to be getting a tree first. So like I said, I'm going to put multiple trees. So I'm going to be using two of these trees, probably these two, and then we can start with this one. And what we want to do is simple. We want to first duplicate this costume right here. That because we will need one just with a road with nothing on it. Then what we want to do is get this tree, select all of it, Control A, you can do it if you want, and then Control C, delete this costume, and then Control V so that it gets onto this costume, and we're gonna go ahead and put it somewhere around that spot. And then what we want to do is paste another tree, and we're gonna put that over there. All right. Now, what we're going to do next is we are going to duplicate this costume again. So duplicate this one with the two trees. And what I want you to do is get rid of one of the trees on one of the sides. And then duplicate this one with the two trees again. I want you to get rid of the tree that was on the other side that you didn't get rid of last time. So you should have a total of 5 costumes, and also the big costume should either be the first costume or the last costume, because we're gonna do a pick random, and if it we don't want to pick the big costume, so we'll just know to put the pick random so that it can't select the big costume. Now what we're gonna go ahead and do is we are going to go ahead and add another type of tree. Alright, and there we go. Now let's go ahead and do that pick random I was talking about. So we're going to switch costume when I start as clone, because each clone will have to pick its own costume. Switch costume to pick random, and it'll be 2 because the first one for me is big costume. We don't want to use the big costume in that pick random. Alright, through 8. 2 through 8. Alright. So let's test this. And we can see that the trees are behind the city, and that's not good at all. So we want the city to go to the back layer. So to do that, go to city, one green flag clicked, forever, go to back layer. Okay, and let's test it now. And we can see that that looks pretty cool. The different trees are appearing, and I think all the different costumes are appearing, so that is good. Now let's go ahead and upload some traffic signs. So to do this, we have to upload some costumes. So let's go ahead and upload costumes. And we are going to go ahead and upload 2. But first, we're going to start with this traffic working sign. And basically what we're going to do is Control A, select all of it, Control C, which copies it, delete that costume right there. And then we want to duplicate this costume right here, the one with nothing on it. And what we want to do is paste, and definitely make it smaller because it's huge right now. Alright, and what we want to do is, now it's just the sign without the stick that holds it up. So to do that, to make a stick that holds it up, we want to make a line with a outline black of 5, and make sure it's straight by holding shift. And now the line is on top of the sign, which is not good. We want the sign to be on top of the line. So to do that, we just, like I did, we select the sign and click this button right here, front, and it goes to the front. Alright, so that should be good. Now, road signs can only be on the right side of the road. When you're driving, they're only going to be on the right side of the road, which means that we don't have to make a costume with it on the left side of the road. So next, what we're going to do is just get the other road sign that I wanted, which is going to be this this traffic sign it says slow on it. Select all of it, Control A, Control C, sorry, which is copy. Delete that costume. Duplicate that costume with nothing on it, and paste. And then make it smaller. And then same thing with the line of outline 5. Okay. Alright, and then same problem. The sign is under the line, make it on top. And so that is good. Now just go ahead and change your pick random from 2 to 10 instead of 2 to 8. So that I can also pick those. Alright. Now the last thing we're going to add on the road are obstacles. And basically what we have to do is we have to upload the costumes first. So let's go ahead and do that. It's actually going to be only one costume this time, because there's only one obstacle that I have, and it's going to be this traffic obstacle thing here that I have. And same thing with the other things, Control A, Control C, delete this this costume, and we will get this one with nothing on it, duplicate it, put a so Control V, make it small, not too small but still small. Alright, put it around there, and then duplicate this one. And we want to get this but move it over here onto the other side. Alright, so now we should have a total of 12 costumes. So this pick random shouldn't be 2 to 10, it should be 2 to 12. So now let's test it. And there we go, we have obstacles and trees and traffic signs coming down. And between between the obstacles, there should be space for a car, because we're going to add a car later on. And a car, I guess, is about the size of an obstacle. So I guess it should be able to fit. So that's good. Now let's go ahead and upload the car sprite that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to be using this gray car that I've used before, right here. But you can use whatever car you want. And there it is. Oh, gotta make it smaller, 50, smaller, 30. And I think that should be good. So what we want to do is make it move with the 2 arrow keys. So when green flag clicked, forever, if key right arrow pressed, we'll start the right arrow. Then we want to change X by, let's say 5. Duplicate it. If key left arrow pressed, change X by -5. Alright, let's go ahead and test that. And I think that should be good. But I think that we should put the car in somewhere like the middle-ish at the beginning. So X0 and Y, let's see, should be here. About negative 130 should be fine. Yeah, that's good. Alright, so what we want to do next is we want the city to move depending on how the car turns. So how the road turns, which is the way that the car will go. So to do this, we have to let the city know that it needs to do something. So we need to use a broadcast. So when key right arrow pressed, we want to broadcast, let's say, right. And when key left arrow pressed, we want to broadcast left. And then if we go to the city, when I receive left, then we want it to go the other way so that it gives you the sensation that you're turning left. And same for the right. So when I receive left, we actually want to change X by not make it go left, which is negative. We want to make it go positive so it goes the other way, so it gives you the sensation that we're going left, which would be something positive. So let's say something small like 1. And then for the right, it's the opposite. Change X by negative 1. Not 1, how bright it's supposed to be. Okay, so let's go ahead and test this. When we turn to the right, the city turns to the left. Moves to the left, and when we turn left, the city moves to the right, so it gives us that sensation that we're actually turning. So that's good. Now to add to that sensation that we're turning, we're going to do the same thing we just did, but to the road. So yeah, let's just go ahead and when I receive left, change X by 1. When I receive right, change X by minus 1. Okay, let's go ahead and test it. And you can see that the road kind of goes the other way when we're turning. So yeah, it does. So that's good. Now the last thing we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to make the city come towards us so that it looks like the car's trying to get to the city. So to do this, we are going to have to change size by something. And then since we're changing size at the beginning, we'll set size to 100, so that it's the normal size. And then we have to change size by something small, like 0.1. Okay, let's go ahead and test this. Now as you can see, this city sprite is size 19, even though I told it to go to 100 and keep getting bigger and bigger. And as you can see, it's 19 and it's not getting any bigger. So that is because it's 19 and it's not over 100 like it's supposed to be, because this sprite is too big for its size to be over 19. So to fix this problem, and to make it be size 100 at the beginning and keep growing, we will be using the same trick that we used for the road sprite, which is to make a smaller costume, a very, very, very small costume that will allow it to get bigger. It'll trick Scratch into letting it get bigger. So to do this, let's just duplicate this, get rid of all that, and then we'll just draw a tiny, tiny dot right there. And what we want to do is basically every time we change or set the size, before we change or set the size, we switch costume to this one right here, which its name we can change its name to make it easier. Small. Oh wait. Okay, let's delete all of that stuff, and we're gonna name it small. Okay. All right. And here we'll switch costume to small, and afterwards we'll switch it back to this, which will be just this normal city. So you can go ahead and rename that one too. Alright, switch costume to small, switch costume to city. Alright, and let's go ahead and test this. So now you can see the size right here. It is 100 and it keeps growing, but I think it's growing too fast. Like, you can see that that's growing way too fast, and you can also see here the size. It's already 135 and it's only been a couple seconds. So to make it grow less fast, to make it grow slower, we're just gonna add a wait, small wait. So we're gonna wait 0.01 seconds. Alright, and there you go. It's growing much slower. I mean, much slower, yeah. It's barely 115. By the time of now, it would already be 140 before. So that is good. So now I'm going to go ahead and add like a stopping, like to make the car stop. So we want the car to stop, well, when it touches specific colors, like the obstacle color. And also, if you remember, we made this roadblock have different color on the edge than in the middle. And I actually said that was because we were going to do this, pick this touching color. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So if it's touching that green color on the edge or that yellow color of the obstacle, then it'll just, let's say, it'll say game over. Okay, so we'll ask ourselves if touching color, and basically it will be, let's see what colors they will be. So the first one would be this one right here, this yellow-ish color. So 1391.93. So 1391.93, we go over here, 1391.93. Okay? So if it's touching that color or the other color that I was talking about, which is, let's go ahead and see, it's going to be like over here, 3195. 3195. Alright, so if it's touching one of those colors, then we want to say game over for less than a second. Okay, so let's say game over for, like I said, less than a second, so like 0.5 seconds. Alright, and let's go ahead and test what this looks like. So let's crash into a sign, an obstacle. There we go, it says game over. And if we go on the edge, it says game over. Just to make sure it's test both edges. If we can, here, let's just restart it. Let's test this edge, and it says game over, so that is good. Now we don't want the card just to say game over. We want it to have this cool stopping effect. So to do this, we will add another costume, upload a costume. And it'll just be this cool flashing effect thing. It'll just be this flash. And basically what we're going to do is duplicate this car. Select all here, Control C, delete this costume. And we want to paste it. And basically we'll put one here, and a couple here to make it look like one big one. So we can see here how it looks. And I think maybe a bit smaller should be good. But I think that's good. Right there. And then we want to Control C, Control V that one, so that it's the same for this side too. And then also, like I said, so paste another one of them, and then we're going to put a couple up here. Okay, so I think that's good. Now let's make sure that we actually change to this costume in the code. So let's go ahead and rename this, not pack a card 2. We will name it stopping costume. Okay, and what we'll do is we will instead of this say, let's get rid of that. We will switch costume to stopping costume, and then we don't want everything to stop abruptly, so let's wait, let's say 2 seconds, and we will stop this script. And this script, because if we do stop all, then what it does is it gets rid of all clones, and the road is made out of clones, so the road will just completely disappear. and we don't want that. We want to just stop this script. So that's good. So let's test it. And oh yeah, at the beginning we do have to switch costume to the back of car 3, apparently it's called. Let's just call it car. Alright, now let's test it. And when we hit, let's say, an obstacle, the flashing will appear, and 2 seconds later I can't move the car. It stopped this script. So that's good. Now we want the road to stop when the car stops, but we don't want the road to stop so abruptly. We want it to slowly stop moving. So to do this, to let the road know that it should begin stopping, like it should begin to not move, we are going to make a variable that I am going to go ahead and call game over, the question mark, for all sprites, because we will need to change this sprite and this sprite, so multiple sprites, not just one sprite. And basically what we're going to do is at the beginning we will set game over to no. N-O. Okay? And then here, when it is game over, we are going to set game over to yes. Okay? There we go. And basically, right here in the road block code, this change acceleration by 0.1 times acceleration makes it move with acceleration. So that makes it move faster and faster. And that's what it does when it hasn't crashed. But when it has crashed, we want to do quite the opposite. Change acceleration by negative 0.1 times acceleration, which will make it move slower and slower and slower. So to do this, we will have to ask ourselves if our variable game over is no. So if it's equal to no, make sure it's spelled the same, capitalized and everything. That's the one you put over there. So game over equals no. So if game over equals no, then we want to do this. Change acceleration by 0.1 times acceleration. Otherwise, so we need an else. So otherwise, we want to change acceleration by negative 0.1. So we'll make it move slower and slower. Let's go ahead and test this. So when I crash, here, let's crash, let's find an obstacle, there we go, crashed, and then the trees and the road slowly stop moving, so that's good. But I do see a problem. If you see here in the background, trees keep on appearing, and also the city keeps on growing larger. So we have to tell them to stop doing that too. So first we'll take care of the city. So basically we only wanted to change size when game over is no. Our variable game over is no. So when we haven't crashed. So it's just, so if game over, our variable game over, is equal to no, then we do all that. Okay? So let's just go ahead and test that now just to make sure. And you can see that the city stops growing, so that's good. Now let's also take care of the trees problem. So trees only appear when we create more clones, because trees are part of the costumes, and then the clones have different costumes. So we have to make it only create clones if game over is no. If game over equals no, then create clone of myself, okay? So let's go ahead and test this. So let's crash, And we can see that no more trees are appearing, which is good, and the city still doesn't grow. So that's good. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you next time in part 3.